He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Friedrich Nietzsche. Here's what nobody wants to hear, but every man chasing freedom needs to accept. Financial freedom is not built by hacks. It's built by trade-offs. Quiet ones, daily ones. The kind that don't look impressive, but change your life. The great renunciation is the moment you stop acting like everything is balanced and you admit the truth. If you want a different future, you need a different lifestyle. Not later, now. And yes, it costs you things you enjoy. It costs you random nights out that turn into nothing. It costs you validation loops. It costs you cheap dopamine you call relaxing, but that actually leaves you more restless. It costs you relationships that are warm on the surface and empty underneath. It costs you being available for every invitation, every group chat, every distraction that keeps you socially busy and personally stuck. Most men don't fail because they're not talented. They fail because they keep their life the same while expecting a different outcome. Same inputs, same outputs. The great renunciation is when you stop asking for permission to change. And understand this, renunciation isn't punishment. It's a choice. It's you saying, I'm done renting my happiness from short-term pleasures. Because that's what cheap dopamine is. Alone. You feel good now. You pay later in focus, energy, time, and regret. So you start living like a man with a mission. Not loud, not performative, clean, selective, intentional. You stop chasing the feeling of being free and you start building actual freedom. Discipline, skills, capital, leverage. This phase can feel lonely because you're walking away from what's common. But common is crowded. Common is noisy. Common is comfortable. And comfort is expensive. Renunciation is not loss. It's alignment. It's you choosing the future over the mood of the moment. Let's name what you're actually giving up, because men love to pretend it's not that deep. It is. You're giving up the life where you're always reachable, where you say yes to stay included, where you keep weak connections alive just to avoid silence, where you spend money to feel like you're part of something, where your weekends are a ritual of forgetting your own goals. You're giving up being entertained all the time. And that's harder than people admit, because constant entertainment is emotional anesthesia. It keeps you from noticing that your life isn't moving. It keeps you from feeling the weight of time. You're also giving up validation. The little hits, the compliments, the attention from women you don't even respect. The social proof that makes you feel alive for an hour. The image. The identity of being the guy who's always around, always funny, always in the mix. And you're giving up warm relationships. Not toxic, not dramatic. Warm, comfortable. The kind that never forces growth. The kind where you're together, but you're not building anything. You're not getting better. You're not getting sharper. You're just passing time with another human. That's why renunciation feels spiritual, because it's not just habits you're cutting, it's attachment. It's you realizing that a lot of what you call fun is really fear. Fear of missing out, fear of being forgotten, fear of sitting alone with your thoughts, fear of facing the fact that you're capable of more than what your life currently reflects. And this is where most men sabotage themselves. They don't quit because they need the distractions. They quit because the distractions give them a temporary identity, and they're scared to be nobody while they rebuild. But that's the cost. You will be nobody for a while. You will be quieter, less present, less social, less fun. And that's fine, because you're not here to be liked by everybody. You're here to become a man you respect. Renunciation is choosing long-term pride over short-term pleasure. It's choosing the outcome over the applause. Cheap dopamine is the real enemy. Not because pleasure is bad, but because cheap pleasure trains you to avoid effort. Here's how it works. You work a little, you get stressed, you escape. You feel bored, you escape. You feel lonely, you escape. The escape becomes your lifestyle. Scrolling, porn, junk food, random flirting, parties, endless content, constant stimulation. None of it fixes the problem. It just delays the confrontation. And every delay has a cost. Your attention span gets weaker. Your patience gets weaker. Your ambition gets softer. Your standards drop because discipline feels too hard. You start needing motivation for things you used to do naturally. You become reactive. You start living for moods. That's what cheap dopamine does. It makes you addicted to feeling good instead of becoming good. And the worst part is it doesn't look dangerous. It looks normal. Everybody does it. That's why it's lethal. You don't notice the damage until years pass and you realize you've been busy, but you haven't built anything that gives you freedom. The great renunciation is when you stop acting like you deserve constant reward. You stop feeding the child inside you that wants pleasure now. You start feeding the man inside you that wants a future. That's where the power comes from. You learn to sit in discomfort without panicking. You learn to be bored without running. You learn to be alone without collapsing. You learn to feel the urge and not obey it. And that changes everything. Because a man who can control his impulses can control his life. A man who can control his life can build wealth. Not overnight. Not with luck. With consistency. This is the truth. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is the ability to delay gratification long enough to create options. Options are the closest thing to freedom that exists in the real world. This is where it becomes almost spiritual, but still real. Renunciation is not about becoming a monk. It's about becoming awake. It's you finally noticing what your habits are worshiping. Most men worship comfort. They worship approval. They worship pleasure. They worship being seen. And they call it just living. But your life is always devoted to something. The question is it building you or is it draining you? When you renounce distractions, you're not killing joy. You're choosing a higher quality of joy. The kind that doesn't come with regret. The kind that doesn't make you weaker tomorrow. The kind that compounds. You start respecting silence because silence is where your standards speak. You start respecting routines because routines are proof. You start respecting no because no protects the future you keep asking for. And you stop romanticizing motivation. You understand that motivation is weather. Discipline is climate. Some days you feel it. Some days you don't. The work still happens. That's not harsh. That's freedom. Because your progress stops depending on your mood. This is also where you become more selective with people. Not because you hate them, but because you can feel when a room is trying to pull you back into your old identity. You can feel when a relationship is lukewarm and distracting. You can feel when someone wants access to you, not connection with you. So you protect your focus like it's sacred, because it is. Your focus is your life. So here's the bottom line. You're not losing anything valuable. You're losing what was keeping you average. You're losing nights that don't matter. You're losing conversations that go nowhere. You're losing habits that steal your attention and give you nothing back. You're losing relationships that keep you comfortable but stagnant. And you're gaining something most men never touch. Self-respect, quiet confidence, financial momentum, a body that doesn't betray you, a mind that can sit still, a future that starts to feel real because your actions match your goals. Yes, you will miss things. You'll miss the easy life. You'll miss being invited. You'll miss being in the loop. But you won't miss the emptiness that comes after. You won't miss waking up with the same problems. You won't miss that feeling of, I'm wasting time that you tried to drown with noise. Renunciation isn't deprivation. It's a trade. You're trading cheap pleasure for expensive peace. You're trading temporary highs for permanent leverage. You're trading fun for freedom. And if you keep doing it long enough, something changes. You stop needing to explain yourself, because the results explain you. If you're here for comfort, excuses, and cheap dopamine, don't follow Inside Out. If you want freedom and you're willing to pay for it with choices, stay. Now be honest. What's the one thing you keep calling harmless, that you know is stealing your future